Hello, this is Ellen Mongan, and this is WOW Radio. The WOW stands for Women of Wisdom. It's your podcast for today, and you're in for a treat. We're going to give you a word of hope. We're actually interviewing Lori Chamberlain, and you will find out who she is in a minute. So she actually is a woman of the Lord who is founded 1998, the Alpha Center for Women, a contract service provided for Florida Pregnancy Support Program, a Florida state program which promotes pregnancy education and encourages women to carry their babies from birth to the finish line. We know that once we carry them from birth to the finish line, we carry them all along their life. She's going to give women hope. So here we go. I'm going to introduce June Council first, and she's going to tell me something really, really great about hope today. Hey, June.
Well, Ellen, you know what? I think that having Lori here at my house, I haven't seen her for such a long time. And Lori is a fun person where we laugh and do silly things. And she never judges. She always hears what you say. And so my hope is for other people to have that kind of a friend like you, Ellen, and her. With me sitting with y'all, that gives me hope. Having people that I know that pray for me and have my back, and that I can talk into coming onto our podcast is a very amazing thing.
You have the gift of persuasion, June.
Hey, Lori, welcome aboard. Welcome to Women of Wisdom. You're kind of like a mentor to not only the women you have, the babies you have, but a mentor to the people that you meet along the way. You mentor women along the way in your care pregnancy centers, So what do you want to say, Lori? Welcome aboard.
Well, thank you, Ellen. And I'm so excited to be here with June and with you and to get to share the journey that I've been on to lead me to where I am. It's not always been easy, but I can't imagine being anywhere else in the ministry that I serve in, that God called me to, and helping the moms and the dads that come through our door. Sometimes we are disrespected and we are demeaned by some of them that come in. It is offering love to those that have not been loved and forgiveness to those that have unforgiveness in their hearts. And when we offer that to them, we see transformations take place.
Ooh,
and there's no way that you can put a price or a value or even words to describe what you feel by the Holy Spirit when you're offering that to somebody, something that they may have not been offered before. And to see that in the ministry of the Alpha Center is nothing short of miraculous.
Lori, can you tell them where you're located and how to get a hold of you before we start really rolling into some of the questions? Because I'm sure June has the first question in a minute, but I'd like to know how they get a hold of you so that they can get like a word of hope even on the phone, and then where they could go if they have to meet some people that have support. It's kind of like a mentoring ministry.
The Alpha Center for Women is located in Ocala. We're at 118 North Pine Avenue, Ocala, Florida, 34475. And our phone number is 352-629-HELP, HELP, 352-629-4357. And we also have a website, and it's alphacenterocala.com. And you can go there and check out different areas of our ministry and how you can help and the services that we offer. And we invite you to check that out. We are affiliated. We've got Heartbeat International, and there are more than 3,000 pregnancy centers nationwide. So wherever you are in the country and internationally, you can find a pregnancy center. Just go online and Google pregnancy centers, and you'll find something and someone that can help you. Also, we're affiliated with National Institute of Family and Life Advocates, and they helped us and continue to help us to keep within the legalities. So because we have to be protected. There is a war that's been waged against pregnancy help centers across the nation, and those are the pro-abortion people that want to come against us and stop the work that we do. as much as they are pro-choice, they don't want women to have choices. They want them to choose abortion only. But we want to give them other options. So we try to protect ourselves and protect the men and women that come to us with factual information about abortion and the procedures, and also about the services that we offer and the material goods that we can help in what they're going to need for their children.
And June, what do you think?
You know what? I was there. One of the things that I saw there that touched me deeply was a young woman who was told by the health department that she needed to abort her baby because something was wrong with it. And she had been coming to Lori prior to me being there. And she said, I'm not going to do that. She had had the training. She said, I'm not going to do that. I don't believe anything's wrong with this baby. Well, 9 months later, that baby was born with nothing wrong with it. So the faith of these women, there is a program that teaches them how to be good Christian women. And so those women come and they put their faith in God. And this woman, a child, was saved because of that. Because the health department had said, and they told her they were not going to deliver that child and help her. You know, a lot of these women are in need, and they are kind of they're not financially equipped to handle these things. But this girl put her faith in God, and that baby was born okay.
You know, I'm going to say that, June. I actually had a situation when I used to teach ballet, and one of the mothers wanted to be pregnant. And I was pregnant with Zachary, my baby that went to heaven way too soon. And she said, can you pray for my baby? So another gal that was, believing, strong Catholic woman of God, we prayed for her, and she got pregnant. And then she got nervous because she was an older mother. And she said, oh, if I have this baby, I'm going to abort it if it's not normal. And I said, wow. So when the baby was born, he was totally normal. He was a little boy, like my boy. My baby passed away, and her baby lived on. He's the delight of her heart. What I'm trying to say is that the gift from God, when he gives you a baby, like if you were given the gift of life, there's going to be the grace to go forth and raise that life. A friend of mine has a Down syndrome child, Monica. She's the delight of my heart, and her mother's and the whole Christian community I was in. It's Monica. She's full of joy. Please don't look a gift horse in the mouth. God gives you a gift. He gives the grace. It builds a family. It does many things. But most of the time, the baby's totally normal. Sometimes the tests are wrong. So let's take that gift and use it for God's glory. Okay, so back to Lori. Lori, so what made you? I want to hear a little about your journey. I thought June was going to ask, and I jumped in and had the address known. Can you and June share a little about your journey, about how she met you and how you got to decide this is the ministry God has called me to do?
Well, let me tell you, this is an interesting thing, because until I went to Lori's course, I was in the middle of the road. Let live and don't get your nose in anybody else's business. Mm-hmm. Until Lori showed me the pictures and the things that were done to these women and the evil that had happened to them, mm-hmm. and the babies, what they do to those babies. I just was devastated, and I volunteered to work for her, and I helped her in the office center, and it was it's a really cool place, and she has done an amazing job. But you know what? I want to ask Lori this. Lori, can you share with us some of your salvation story, bringing you to the point of starting the Office Center? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
It's a long story, and I know we have a short period of time.
No, we have all the time in the world. We're here for eternity.
My mother was 14 when she got pregnant with me, and she was a mere child and probably shouldn't have been out and about doing what she was doing. From the point that, and I shared this with June knows so much about me, and I'm thankful that she's my friend because she does not judge me, and she's been a refuge for me for a very long time. But early on, when I was able to recognize there was something about my mom, and then I was able to understand, she made it very clear to me that, and even said to me, you were a problem pregnancy and I didn't have to have you. So then when my sister was born, I was 6 years old, and it was very evident that my sister was the wanted child.
Mm-hmm.
I was the problem. I was the unwanted child. So there was a lot of sense of rejection, even though I didn't recognize what it was. And my mother was ill-equipped to be a mother, but I didn't understand why. Just as a child, I didn't. So when I came into elementary school, I never felt protected by my mother. My mother and my stepfather, which was my sister's dad, divorced, and I became fair game and basically prey for a school teacher that began to groom me for sexual abuse.
Wow.
And I was one of several girls that, and so from 8 years old until I was 12, this was an ongoing thing with this school teacher. And it was, I never went to my mom to tell her. And there were several reasons looking back as I got older and trying to understand, my mindset and why didn't I? Because there were other situations where I was approached by men and was molested. And I went to her and told her, and she said, oh, well, just don't go around him anymore. She didn't really do anything. So I thought, well, it must not be a big deal. So maybe this isn't a big deal either. And then when she had separated me from my father and told me he didn't want anything to do with me, so I thought, well, he doesn't want me, but this other man wants me. He's giving me attention, and I was at his house, and he was married, and I don't know if his wife was clueless. I'm not real sure. Looking back as an adult, I try to figure out the dynamics, and it's really difficult to understand.
Sure.
But then my mother, after I went to live with my father, and I was reunited with my mother in visitation and all, I was 12 when I went to visit my mother. That's when the abuse stopped, because I wasn't in, the vicinity of this teacher anymore. Then when I came back to visit with my mom, she introduced me with a friend that was 20 years older than I was. Oh, he wants to date you. And I thought, well, if she thinks it's okay, then it must be okay. So then it was perpetuated. I was 15 years old at the time. So then this mindset was perpetuated. And I ended up in a 7-year relationship and then a 24-year marriage with this man. And it was completely dysfunctional. It was not respectful. I was, the grooming continued on. It was mentally and emotionally abusive and controlling. So during that time, I went into a very dark depression. And there was also at 17, while I was in the early stages of the relationship with this man, I got pregnant, and my mother interceded and convinced me that abortion was my only choice. She couldn't help me. There was a lot of fear in the situation. So even though the abortion was not what I wanted, I didn't know what other choice I had to make, because I had no visible means of support. And the father of the baby had gone out of state, and there was a disconnect. I didn't know if he was coming back. I wasn't secure in the relationship. So I was clueless as to what to do. I just turned 17. So he did come back into my life, even though we were only separated by distance. We weren't, apart, but my mother convinced me that he was not going to return. So anyway, I just kind of pushed the abortion aside, and I didn't deal with any healing from that for a very long time. And then came the culmination of the abuse, the relationship, the abortion, and I went into a very dark depression. I was having emotional and medical issues, and I I was at a place where I just want to die. The thoughts of suicide were in my head. And I thought, I can't go forward with this. The pain, we had our son, and by that time he was probably about 3 years old, perhaps. And I'd been praying at different times. I knew that Jesus was real. I knew everything he did for me. My maternal grandmother had made that perfectly clear, and she was Jesus for me in my life. She was the only Jesus I ever had in my life. But Jesus wasn't real for me. And I remember in July of 93, I had gone to bed and I just cried out in desperation, and I said, if you don't make yourself real to me, I'm going to die. And I would probably go straight to hell, but I have no other place to turn.
Amen.
Because I wanted to die. I was dying inside. And there was such a heaviness and a depression. And the very next day, I remember when I woke up, everything was so different. Everything was brighter. It's like, oh, the leaves on the trees were green. I thought they were gray.
That's right.
So my husband and I have been having a lot of issues. And I remember a couple of days later, he came in the kitchen and he said, you're different. I said, well, I've been praying. He said, well, keep it up because it's working.
Oh.
So that was in July of 1993. And there was a journey after that. And once again, I changed, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to go on the road of healing from the abortion. That was the beginning of healing for the abortion. And that was a rocky road as well. Because when those feelings come up, of the pain and the guilt and the remorse. I remember Focus on the Family was a great resource for me, and listening to some of the testimonies of women that had experienced abortion, and Carol Everett out of Texas, who had been an owner of an abortion center, several of them, and God had brought her out, and she was in full-time pro-life ministry then. She had an abortion as well in her history. And there were just other people on that journey. And I remember hearing a testimony about what the baby felt during an abortion, and the grief and the pain that I felt, recognizing what I had done to my child. And going through that was excruciating. But it was the beginning of a new place in my life. And I knew that it was necessary. And Jesus was there with me. He brought those resources into my life. He brought the people into my life that were very instrumental in that walk. So fast forwarding a bit, then even though I was changing and growing spiritually and emotionally and mentally, my husband was not. So I was at a church, and a woman was giving testimony about, she was in pro-life ministry at a pregnancy center, and they had these flowers that were up in front of the church, and they represented babies that had been saved from abortion through the pregnancy center that was in Ocala. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I should be involved in that. But I thought, oh, my husband will never allow that to happen, because he was very controlling. So I just kind of put that in the back of my mind, and I thought, Lord, if that's what you want from me, you're going to have to work it out, because I just can't handle anything else. So it took about a year for God to speak to him, and it made it his idea that I become involved in the pregnancy center that was local in Ocala. And so I became a volunteer there, and began to continue on my healing journey and minister to women as a volunteer and counsel with them. And so then when the abortion center in Ocala opened, there was a property available next door. I was working for an insurance office and volunteering at that pregnancy center. It was time for me to kind of move out. I'd had a car accident. I was in a lot of pain. And the high pressure situation of the insurance office was not a good fit for me. So when the director of that pregnancy center was leaving, I got hired as the director. Well, then when the property became available next door to the abortion center, I'm presenting, what if we open up here? Well, that pregnancy center didn't want to do that. So we decided that I would resign and that, we would found the Alpha Center there. Well, you and June probably recognize, being in ministry, what happens when you decide to go into ministry. All hell
I do
breaks
recognize
loose.
it. I do.
If you have a bullseye on your back, you become a great target for the darts of the wicked one. The devil had me in his sights. And then all of this attack came, and the depression came, and the medical issues came. And that was when I recognized I needed pastoral counseling. I just could not go forward. But I can kind of segue. Do you want me to put that counseling on hold for just a little bit and talk about Alpha Center, June? Where do you want to go?
Talk about the counseling.
Okay. So I met this pastor, and his approach was theophostic counseling.
Very good. Very good.
And I was not
Very good.
familiar with it. And basically, it's asking Jesus to come into those painful memories. So I had forgiven my mother, and my mother died in January of '93, which was just a few months after I had this awakening to Christ, and he just totally made me brand new. And I had forgiven her. I told her that I had, and that I wanted her to find peace in her life because she was a train wreck. She was addicted to prescription drugs, and I knew that one day I was going to get the call that she was gone. She was definitely on a road of self-destruction. So in January of '94, I got the call that ambulances were at her house and that my mother was gone. And she had taken an accidental overdose. So that was in January of '94. So anyway, when we started the Alpha Center in '98, sometime in early to mid '99, late '99, when this attack is coming on me, and I go to the pastor, and he is talking with me about my mother. I was talking to him about the abortion and different things. He said, I want you to think about this. When Jesus was on the cross, did they know what they were doing to him? And I said, well, sure, they did. They were killing him. He said, yes. He said, did they know the impact of what they were doing and how it was what effect it was going to have? And I said, no, they probably didn't. He said, what was his prayer?
Mm-hmm.
I said, he prayed, Jesus, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing.
That's right. That's
He
right.
said, now think about your mother. Did she know what she was doing, the things that she said to you, her influence on you to have the abortion, all of these things in your life with her, your history with her? Did she know what she was doing? Well, she probably did, but did she know the impact?
That's right.
No, Okay, so you have to forgive her because she didn't know the impact and what it was going to do in your life.
That's right.
Now, my assignment was,
But can I interject here, Lori, real quick?
yes, go.
Women out there, we just had Mother's Day, and we know that moms do the best they can. Like Lori said, when Jesus came into her heart, she had light. Even the very leaves were brighter, from gray to bright. And sometimes as mothers, we expect our children to be perfect. They also expect us to be perfect. Now, her mom had some challenges. She was 14 when she had her, and she didn't really, it sounds like she wasn't really strong on what is right and what is really, really wrong. So forgiving someone, no matter what, is a very hard thing. But Lori was brave enough to sit and ask for help and to do this. You know, you may be on a journey right now where you have a mother that maybe did things that were really not so healthy for you. But Lori's going to tell us now how she began to take the journey with Christ, take it in his hand and every day, and to work. God says he'll work all things together for good, no matter what, if we love him. Romans 8:28. So she's going to tell us about working all things together for good. So maybe if you're in a pit right now and you don't know how to get out of it, and you feel like you have no hope, like she felt dead inside before Christ came in her life. So if you had that experience yourself, listen on. And if not, maybe you have a friend that may could benefit from this. Because there's always light at the end of that tunnel. It may get really, really dark, and the light comes on. So Lori, sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like maybe this is a very important part of the show. This is Woman of Wisdom, and we have some wisdom. But today we brought on Lori, who has a tremendous amount of wisdom for this issue of hope, because she's done the journey. See, she knows the way. She walked the path. So Lori, sorry to interrupt you, but here you are. Lori, hello.
Hi. Okay. So, one of the first memories when I began to write this letter to my mother, even though she's gone, was we had lived with my grandmother, her mother. Well, we lived near my grandmother, which was my mother's mother, and her dad, my granddaddy. And one day I'd come home from school at my grandparents' house, and I walked into my grandparents' bedroom. I think I was about 7 years old, and I saw my mother and her father passed out asleep in bed together. Her nightgown was pulled up. She had no underwear on. So at 7 years old, I just stopped and I looked around and I thought to myself, there's something wrong with this picture.
Sure.
So this is a first memory at going back of what I thought when I'm writing this letter. And I wrote it out. And when the pastor read, and there were many other memories that I wrote in this letter. But after each memory, what I said was, but I forgive you, Mom, because you didn't know what you were doing. Mm-hmm. And it had to do with the abortion. It had to do with her setting me up with my future husband. It had to do with, her rejecting me and telling me that I was basically the unwanted child. I just had to go through every single thing and go through a different level of forgiveness. And that was one of the things that June and I have talked about, that you can forgive people at a certain level where you are, but as you mature, what I've discovered from myself at least is that as I've matured mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I have forgiven them on a deeper level where that stronghold of unforgiveness does not grip me anymore and does not have control over me anymore. So as I was talking with the pastor, and he said, you saw your mother with her father in bed. And I said, yes, I did. He said, I want you to close your eyes and tell me about the room and tell me where you are in the memory. But then I want you to tell me, where is Jesus in that memory? So I did this, and the room was very dark. He said, where's Jesus? I said, he's standing right behind me. And he said, and what are you thinking? And I began to cry, and I said, does my nanny know this? My concern was for her. Does she know this is going on? Does she have any idea? I'm 7 years old when I saw this. And he said, and what is Jesus saying? And Jesus is saying, this is what was done to your mother.
See.
Have pity on her.
See, and then you're able to see the gift of understanding. Suffering brings a gift of understanding. When you're understood, not that it's right in any way, when you're understood, you're able to go deeper in your forgiveness to compassion. What do you think, June? Because I know you do theophostic and inner healing as well with women. What do you think about someone maybe listening out there that needs that kind of a mentor or someone to help them through the journey?
Well, I think that Lori is a story of victory. I think she has overcome things that people or any of us have never even dreamed of overcoming.
That's right.
And I think that her life needs to be looked at. And when you feel sorry for yourself, Are you kidding me?
That's right.
Let's not get into self-pity.
That's right.
And let's look at the people that are really battling real issues. Let's look at the world and how everything is okay. But Lori is talking about a child who's been affected by the sins of the fathers, the grandfathers, whoever. And I think that the courage that Lori shows in this is that she opened up her heart and said, I'm not afraid to face this head on. I am going to tackle this until I'm healed. And what does she say on the levels of forgiveness? That must mean she must be peeling an onion.
That's right.
Oh, I am an onion. Oh, so is everybody else.
That's right. And
That's
onions
how
make
other
cry.
people.
Onions
Yeah.
bring tears because they're
Yeah. Yeah, you peel that onion and you cry and you get rid of that level of whatever that sword is in there that's wounded your heart. And then you let Jesus touch your heart.
that's right.
You open that up and you let him touch it. Her first experience was saying, I can't do this anymore. You have to help me.
That's right.
You know what? He didn't look and say, now there's nothing wrong with you.
No, he didn't.
Get up and get out
No,
of
he
here
didn't.
and keep going.
He was
No.
right there.
He healed her through the night.
Yes, he did.
He
No.
came in there and he said, yeah, okay. You finally asked me to help you. Thank you, Jesus.
But here's the thing. He's still healing me.
That's
I'm
right.
still being healed.
Yeah.
I am a work in progress, and I don't know if I'll ever arrive, but it's okay.
You don't have to
because
worry.
I'm a
You don't,
victim.
you don't have to worry because
Amen.
he'll carry you when you can't walk anymore, and he'll when he can, he'll say, go, Lori, tell the world your story. I think it's very brave of you to tell the story. I do. I think it's brave, and I think it's for someone out there that's listening. And I think that you have learned one thing you know. When I get to the end of what I can do in my own self, in my weakness, Jesus, you're my strength. And I really think this is important, especially with it's like this Me Too generation thing. But this wasn't a man you didn't know that you want to be a movie star. This is like a mother that you trusted that led you the wrong way. So to me, this is a timely word, this generation, that as mothers, we hold a really big responsibility to train up our children the way of the Lord and to protect them. But when we're trusting our moms to be our protector and then they're the one feeding us the wolves, that's a hard thing to say and talk about. So, Lord, I do commend you. I want to go on with some of our more questions, but I just thank you again because even so far, I feel like it's blessing us because we all have different trials. Some big, some small. They used to say on the other show I was on, little people, little problems, big people, big problems. None of us are ever going to arrive. If that makes you feel any better, none of us. We all think we're finished, we're good, I forgave this person or that, and then we get around and we go, okay, totally not healed yet. It's a journey. So I want to change gears a little bit and say, what are some of your favorite memories of God getting involved in the area of, like, he put on your heart? First of all, we know this is your ministry. You have been called by God from the beginning of time to begin a ministry to help women to heal. And the most tender of women are the pregnant women. So how did God start getting involved with that from the time you decided to open the Alpha Center?
Well, considering that when I went for my abortion and telling them that this isn't what I want, I just don't know what else to do, there was nothing available. So that's why I got involved in pregnancy resource ministry. And then starting Alpha Center, there was just such a vision that God poured into my heart. When we started setting it up, the abortion center was already open, and the people that were standing outside praying and trying to talk to the women that would come in for their abortions and all, they just embraced what we were doing. They embraced me. They began to bring in donations of material goods, the diapers and the baby clothing and everything. And it was just a miraculous thing. I was disheartened to a point by the response of the churches in and of themselves as far as leadership, because it's hard to get in where leadership's concerned. But God really had to reveal to me that the church is not the leadership. The church is the people.
That's right.
We, the people, are the church. So the people that are on the street and the people that are coming to help, that's the church. So we have very humble beginnings. We opened up in August of 1999, so we're coming up on our 20th anniversary of serving our community.
Amazing.
And our very first baby that was saved from abortion, our very first baby ever, the mother was 14, and she was kicked out of her home because the grandmother wanted the abortion. But anyway, the baby just graduated from high school.
So
And
great.
she and her mother and her 3 other siblings are a part of my life, still very close to me, very dear to my heart. But as far as the Alpha Center, it has been a very progressive and small steps to where there wasn't this lightning bolt growth for it to, like fold in on itself. And I have a core group of volunteers that are very grounded in their faith. They're prayerful people, and they have such compassion for the clients that come in. They're very non-judgmental. They recognize that everybody's coming from somewhere, and we don't know where that is until we take time to talk to them and offer them a different perspective, offer them hope. Because if you don't have hope, you're going to fall into despair.
That's right.
And if you're just focused on where you are, then you're not going to see where you can go. And that's the whole point, is don't look at where you are, say this is where I am for now, but there's something better. There's always got to be something better. But you have to get past where you are to see the better. And that's what we try to offer them. We focus on their strengths and what can you do to get from where you are to where you want to be. We focus on their goals and how can we help you get there. We give them truth and love, and we love them unconditionally, but yet we pull them back and say, I think you're going off course here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you make these decisions, you may not get a good consequence, a good outcome.
That's right.
So how about we reevaluate where you are right now?
I want to pick up on
And
that.
they recognize that we love them and that we care about them, and we want to see what the best outcome for them and their families.
Well, I want to pick up on that, June. We didn't start the show about judgment, but hope. When you need hope, you got to surround yourself with people that are non-threatening, non-judgmental, and love you just the way you are. I never connected to Bill, Lori, and you were talking, but you don't need more people to judge you and to tell you where you went wrong. They already know that they have made some choices that were not right. And I love the way Lori puts together with the love and the hope. She puts together, you have to make right choices. So, June, what do you think about that? I'm putting you on next. Here you go. June?
Well, you know what, Ellen, I think that is such an amazing point. So she didn't say, "Oh, I can't get this. I'm never going to be any good. I can't do it." No, she said, "You know what? I can do this. I'm going to step forward, and I'm going to get off that boat, and I'm going to stand on that water."
That's right.
Because Jesus is standing on the water,
That's right.
and I'm going to walk to him.
That's right.
And I know, because I love her, she's sunk a couple of
we all
times.
think.
But she got back up and she
That's
looked
right.
at Jesus again. And you know what? I think that is such, see, that's a winner.
That's a winner.
That's a winner.
That's a
She
she's done
said,
journey.
she's not a,
I'm not a victim.
she's
That's
not a
right.
victim.
No, you're not a
Yeah.
victim. And
Yeah.
you know what I think? I always share this. I hope you don't get tired of it. Everyone has to come down off of something. Peter could never have been the first pope had he not got fallen into the pit of despair and said, I don't know Jesus. And Paul could have never been who he was in Christ had he not said, you know what? I'm going to get off. I fell off my horse. And Zacchaeus, even if you think way back, right, he had to come down off that tree to meet Jesus. we some people find Jesus when they're down and out, the lowest of their, like a down despair and hopeless. And other people meet Jesus when they're everything's going good. I think I'll follow you, Jesus. But no matter what, we know where our strength, our light, and our love comes from. And so we have to be able to take the journey wherever it is. Every day, like she said, wake up. She's not there yet. Wake up every day, put one foot in front of the other, or run the race. No matter what that day holds, if we can't do it, we start to sink. We know where to go. And so, thank you. I still have more questions, Lori. This show is going way too fast. I don't want to forget anything because we have some key points we really wanted to get in there. So, June, you can ask the next question. How's that?
Well, you know what? I think she has something else she'd like to say.
Perfect.
I just have that feeling.
Well, there's a lot of people that have had difficult lives, and they've had trials and tribulations and just, such trauma in their lives. And a lot of times they'll say, they blame God, or they'll say, why me, why me? And that's understandable to a point. But you have to realize that when I look at my life, I see that there are choices that were made, sins that were perpetuated against me, and sins that I've committed, and there's consequences for sins, whether they're at the hands of other people against you, or whether they're sins that I've committed and I've had to suffer the consequences for my abortion, or other choices I've made in my life. So God didn't do those things. They were either perpetuated against me, or I did it to myself.
I love this point.
And what I've learned in my life is when I'm going through my testing times, I don't ask God why anymore. I ask him to show me what you want me to learn.
I love that.
What do I need to learn here? And can you teach me pretty quickly so
I
I can get through
I know about that pit.
Because I know when I get to the end of it, I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be able to help more people. I'm going to have more compassion. And it's going to be for the benefit, not only for me, but for somebody else. So God, Lord Jesus, will you please show me what I need to learn?
That's huge.
Help me.
That's huge.
You know what?
Teach me.
Standing in the office center one day, we were there and there were no diapers. Now, this is donations.
Oh, I thought about that the other day.
There were no
That's
diapers.
beautiful.
I swear we're standing there, and Lori trusts God for her donations, but there were no diapers in there's a little place that's been built to put the diapers, and they're newborns and on up to size 6. And so we both prayed.
Oh, this is the prayer, okay? This is the prayer of the Blessed Mother
There you
at
go.
the wedding feast of Cana.
Oh, I love this.
They have no more wine, okay? Jesus, we have no more diapers.
That was the prayer.
That was the prayer, Ellen.
I love the prayer. I love the prayer. My favorite prayer.
Wait until you hear what happened.
Within less than an hour, somebody comes in with diapers. And then not too long after that, somebody else comes in with diapers. And and then the next day, more people come in with the diapers.
Wow, that's huge.
We didn't tell anybody. We did not broadcast. That was the prayer.
See,
Those are the miracles that happen. Those are the miracles. It's all because of God's provision.
That's
Yes.
right. And so, I'm going to stop here a minute and say, guys, I know when you hear a testimony this touching to the heart, you want to help. So I'm going to have Lori again say, where you can contact her and what you can do to help, because no one wants to listen and not. Your heart has to be tugged to say, how can I help? And so here we go, Lori. How they contact you?
Alpha Center for Women is in Ocala, Florida. We are at 118 North Pine Avenue. That's Ocala, Florida, 34475. And our website is alphacenterocala.com. Our phone number is 352-629-HELP, and that's 629-4357. And also, if you do go on our website and you decide that you'd like to give donations, you can give securely online through PayPal.
That's good.
And but the website will show you how to help and the services that we offer. And we would love to hear from you. If you're local in Ocala, we love to give tours. I can definitely talk, and June will attest to that. So I like to give presentations or small groups. I can meet with women or anything like that, and get in touch with us. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I
You
would
know, I
highly
want to read something that she wrote, and it's on her I think Facebook page. But this sums up. Now, Lori has a boyfriend right now that says she should be a writer.
that's it. I just
And
say
I
we're writers.
agree with him. And so this is what she wrote. And I think it's amazing because it sums up everything in a short couple of paragraphs.
Okay.
Alpha Center for Women exists to provide safe, confidential, educational environment to assist men and women in unplanned pregnancy. We do not perform or refer for abortion. However, we do educate on abortion procedures and all available life-affirming options. We are not here to pressure, but to give factual information so that our clients can make informed decisions about their pregnancies. Our desire is that every unborn life would be welcomed into our world, but our goal is to impart unmitigated truth about documented effects of abortion on men, women, and relationships. We offer material support before and after pregnancy up to age 3, and we offer post-abortion support to help on the healing journey to those struggling with past abortion. We are here for you no matter what.
Wow, that's huge, Lori. Now we're gonna go a little longer than our usual hour show because it's very important we get everything said we need to say. So before we go to our final points, is there anything you want to say to the women out there? Well, then we'll each turn with our last point. You'll go last. But tell us, is there anything you haven't said that you want to get on this tape, this podcast?
I just want to encourage those that might be struggling. Like I said before, don't lose hope. And if you feel that you're isolated, that's not the place that you should be. You need to reach out to somebody and find someone that you can confide in. Sometimes that's not necessarily the professional, but a good friend that's not judgmental. And sometimes it's not even in the church because the church can be judgmental. You need to find someone that you can connect with that will listen to you. And if you need to contact a pregnancy help center or somebody that you trust, there's going to be an ear for you. And you pray, and God will lead you to that person. As far as abortion is concerned, if you've never acknowledged your abortion or your child, that was one of the things that God showed me. I did acknowledge my child. That was part of my healing, and I named her. My daughter's name is Zoe, which in Greek means life, and her name is Zoe Elizabeth, which is my confirmation name, Elizabeth, and life consecrated to God.
Wow.
So that was another part of my healing. So if you've had an abortion as well and you need to seek out a post-abortion support group, you can also find that on, if you search out for any pregnancy centers. Many of them offer that in addition to, other resources for you.
June?
Well, you know what? I do have one more thing that I want to ask Lori. She's a wealth of knowledge, so if you have any questions for her, ask her on her website.
Good.
But I wondered, there's a war going on to kill our babies. Our children are under attack. And Lori, do you think we're winning that war right now?
We are absolutely winning the war. And I'm encouraged because there's so many people that are fighting on so many different levels. We can't all do the same thing in pro-life. So some people are fighting in the political realm, which is definitely necessary. Prayer is first and foremost. Don't stop praying. We've got the 40 Days for Life campaigns that go on in front of abortion centers. You've got the sidewalk counselors that go on. I can't read that. But you have other organizations. You've got Abby Johnson that came out of Planned Parenthood. She was a director of Planned Parenthood, and she has Abortion No More, who is not targets, but ministers to the ones that are involved, the abortionists and the medical people and the office workers in abortion centers themselves, that when they come out, they are there to help to get them jobs and to support them and provide them post-abortion counseling, because they've been traumatized. They may not have had abortions, but they have participated in perpetuating the deaths of all of these babies and the devastation against these men and women. So she's very instrumental, and there have been numerous abortion centers that have been closed. In fact, the one that was open next door to our office in Ocala, it closed coming up on up on 3 years that it closed, and every time I drive in.
Recording. Hey, we're here with Lori Chamberlain and June Council on our show, Woman of Wisdom, Wow Radio. And June and I and Lori have been talking about some of the beginning, middle, and end of going through a journey that's very painful and that has a good ending. So we're at the part we did at the beginning, some of the things that happen with the side effects of abortion, some of the middle we shared, and now we're towards the end of how God's working out for the good and where you can go to help with this issue. And it all begins with prayer, huh, Lori? Hi, Lori.
Yes, it does. Don't stop praying.
You go ahead. You begin.
So the abortion center closed, and now the center was purchased by one of the ministries in Ocala, and it is a medical center for people that do not have insurance. They offer mental, vision, dental, and medical, and also prescription assistance. So, and it's called Center for Life, which I thought was just beautiful that they would do that. And we network with them. We work with them on a close basis. So it's a beautiful thing that God has done to take this abomination and this place of death and destruction and now build it up to a Center for Life, where they are actually helping people to restore and to give them the medical care that they need.
Thank you, Lori. June, on the other tape, we were just sharing our final points, but we're going to continue on here a little bit. Do you want to add anything about the joy of working in a center and helping Lori just bring this miracle to the finish line? How she started out with a great dream and hope, and she's brought hope to so many people.
Right. Well, I personally saw the 40 Days for Life people out there praying. They would go and talk to the people going in, and then they would bring those people to us to talk to them about not having an abortion. And they would stand out there and pray, and one of the women would go right up to the door, and that prayer in front of that abortion clinic and reaching out to those people, the young women going up there, touched a lot of lives. And that bringing everything into the light in that prayer closed that clinic down. Everybody working together.
That's the key, working together, because not everyone needs to do the same thing.
Like this.
All the bases have to be covered, and we're not all gifted in the same area. God didn't create us that way. So everybody has to do their part. And I look at it as we are just different facets that have come together. And when the light of Jesus shines on us, we reflect his brilliance, and we reflect it out, and we're doing his work to save his children.
Amen.
I love that point. No one can do everything. Lori can't, June can't, I can't, but everyone can do something. And to be gifted, like some are a hand, some are a foot, some are a mouth. I'm a mouth, kind of, in the ear. And so we have to do some part, and whatever you're doing, it's going to fit your gifts, your talents. It's going to give you great joy. If you're doing something in the ministry and it's not making you have great joy, possibly you could pray and ask the Lord what you should be doing. Lori's in her destiny, make it a difference. June's in hers, make it a difference. God is calling your name to do the same. Maybe you haven't had the testimony Lori has, but maybe you have a different facet in this that you have. Maybe you have a Down syndrome child like you talked about earlier. Maybe you have a child that you almost aborted, but you chose to keep them. There's something you can do in what God's done along your journey. If you wake up every day, pray, 1 foot at a time, 1 step at a time, And when you can't walk any longer, let him carry you. So Lori, I'm just like so amazed at how this went. We never know when we start a show what direction we'll take. But I think your most important part, no, we don't. We go like, okay, here we are, Lord. I'm going to open my mouth and you fill it. But the most important point you says, please don't judge these women. Like, look, what would have happened had Lori not cried out to God? Who knows what would have happened? There's many people hurting and judging instead of hugging. I see tears in a woman's eyes. Across the airways, I want to hug that woman and say, I'm so sorry that you hurt. I'm a mother. I have a mother's heart. And I'm so sorry you hurt on behalf of mothers everywhere that don't learn to go God's way and do the right thing. We don't do it perfectly, but I'm sorry you have hurt. And I commend you for the braveness of your story. I know June's got the big mother's heart as well. Right, June? You could actually hug her across the airways. You have been a testimony to my heart. It tenders my heart to see you. No, it tenders my heart. That's why Woman of Wisdom was started, for women that go, my mom didn't know what to do. And she wasn't any help. And why did this happen? But not like in self-pity, like, why me? And I love also the fact that you said this. You didn't just say, when you sin, it's a big deal. It's not like, do whatever you want. God's got it covered. He died on the cross. He's going to forgive you. It's not about that. We sin against God. We feel bad. We go like, Lord. My husband always goes, you got that Catholic guilt. He's a deacon in the Catholic Church. But he goes, I was raised by the nuns. I never say it's not a big deal. I go to confession. I cry like a baby. The priest think I have an illness. I go, no. If I sin against God, I said, before I come, I repent at home as soon as I sin. I don't want to be sinning against God and going, it's okay. He only had to die on the cross for me. It's a huge deal for him. I'm sorry, I will cry myself because it's a huge deal. And to tell women, but there's hope. See, there's confession. There's a grace, the sacrament. What does God do there in the sacrament? He reaches inside, does like a little bath. He scrubs you clean. So you're white as snow. You're white as snow. You're the bride of Christ. You're wearing the white dress. You're going like, I sinned and God made me beautiful. I can only believe how good my God is. Right, June? That's our favorite sacrament next to communion.
Yes.
The Eucharistic
You know what?
confession. June,
Let me say a prayer.
Please
Let me
do.
say a prayer, and then you can read your poem.
Okay.
Lord, all your love flows to us from the cross.
Amen.
Heal our crosses with your merciful love, and let your light shine on everything that we need to be healed in. Everything that we need to be healed. And pour the oil of Gilead down over all of our deep wounds.
Amen.
And just restore us with faith, hope, love, joy, and especially understanding
Amen.
of why some people might hurt us or we hurt others.
That's
We
right.
just thank you for that in Jesus' name.
Amen. And thank you on behalf of Woman of Wisdom. I just thank you for being on the show, Lori and Jude. I thank you for being with me on the show. We just hope that one soul is touched. If you're carrying a little baby, I have a little poem inside you, and you're saying, how can I go on? I have this little baby. I'm only 14. I commend your mother for not aborting you, Lori. You're a beautiful witness of God's love. You have to be able to go like, whoa, my mom carried me. That was a brave step. So the poem is called Life is a Miracle. Life is a miracle. It's really a song, so I can't sing it because of my voice. Life is a miracle. Life is a miracle. From conception to birth. Oh, how much is it worth? Life, 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 life. Life is a miracle. Is it worth all your love and all your prayers? All your worries and all your cares? Can you stand in the gap and not let the world sap their future, their dreams, their life, their schemes? For life is a miracle. As the miracle unfolds, 10 fingers, 10 toes, you be blind not to see the miracle God gave thee. My heart weeps with pain for the babies that have been slain. When will it end? You be the message I send. Daddy Lord, for each in the womb they hide that soul. I, Jesus, died. That's what life is worth. My life and my birth, my death and my pain. For that soul I was slain. Now you cry out with joy for that girl and that boy. Please earnestly pray that surely someday this tragedy will end. For this, lay down your life, my friend. For the one with no voice, do they have a choice? For these wee ones we stand, there is peace for all man. The importance you'll never know till heaven you go. So be bold and proclaim to those who have yet no name that life is a miracle from conception till birth. How much is it worth, June? How much is it worth, Lori? Here's what it's worth. All your love and all your prayers, all your worries and all your cares. Because life is a miracle. And now one more time, Lori, thank you again. June, thank you again. We're going to end the show. I hope part 2 is still heard. Stay tuned. June.
God bless everyone.
God bless
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
And thank you for what you do, both y'all. We love you. From Women of Wisdom, we say good night. Enjoy the show once again. Tell your friends.